Dun dun dun. Do. Alright. Got some books up in this motherfucker. What? Oh. Okay. Let's see. This Narnia book. It was a doll. We're reading the Chronicles of Narnia, Cole. What are you doing? It was a dull autumn day, and Jill Pole was crying behind the gym. She was crying because they had been bullying her. This is not going to be a school story, so I shall say as little as possible about Jill's school, which is not a pleasant subject. It was co-educational, a school for both boys and girls, what used to be called a mixed school. Oh, dude, it's too fucking late, bro. It's 3 o'clock. Just dropped my girlfriend off at the airport. So, just chilling at the house by myself with my dog and my cat. These people had, I think we gotta skip right into the action with this book, right? There. Not by my counsel, said the prince. I would save my horse, Coldback, and the witch's Snowflake, a noble beast and worthy of a better mistress, which are both stabbed in the courtyard. After that, let us make shift to get out to high ground and pray that we shall find an outlet so we can charge our iPhone in Narnia. The horses can carry two. I'm just kidding. That's not a thing. Yeah, bro. The horses can carry two, each at need, and if we put them to it, they may outstrip the flood. Will your highness not put on armor? Asked Puddle Gloom. Puddle Gloom? I don't like the look of those. And he pointed down to the street. Everyone looked down. Dozens of creatures. And now that they were close, they obviously were Earthmen. Earth people, man. You know about Earth people, don't you guys? We're coming up from the direction of the harbor, but they were not moving like an aimless crowd. They behaved like modern soldiers in an attack, making rushes and taking cover, anxious not to be seen from the castle windows. Dun dun dun. I dare not see the inside of that armor again, said the prince. I rode in it as in a movable dungeon, and it stinks of magic and slavery. But I will take the shield. He left the room and returned with a strange light in his eyes a moment later. Look, friends, he said, looking out the shield towards them. An hour ago, it was black without device, and now I charged my iPad, and this, the shield, had turned bright as silver, and on it, redder than blood or cherries, was a figure of the lion on his brand new iPad. Doubtless, said the prince, this signifies that Aslan will be our good lord, whether he means us to live or die, and all's one for that. Now by my counsel, we shall all kneel and kiss his likeness, and then all shake hands one with another, as true friends that may shortly be parted. And then let us descend into the city of Truckee and take the avenger that is sent to us. Yes, this is getting deep, man. And they all did as the prince had said. But when Scrub shook hands with Jill, he said, So long, Jill. Sorry I've been a funk and so ratty. I hope you get safe home. Is that a typo in this book, man? Narnia? I don't know. Maybe I'm the typo, huh? So long, Eustace. Eustace? Eustace? And I'm sorry I've been such a pig. And this was the first time they had ever used Christian names, because one didn't do it at school. The prince unlocked the door, and they all went down the stairs, 3 of them with drawn swords, and Jill had drawn a knife. The attendants had vanished, and the great room at the foot of the prince's stairs was empty. The gray, doleful lamps were still burning, and by their light they had no difficulty in passing gallery after gallery and descending stairway after stairway. The noises from outside the castle were not so easily heard. Here, as they had been in the room above, inside the house, all was still as death and deserted. Dun dun dun. Yeah, man. It was as they turned a corner into the great hall on the ground floor that they met their first Earthman. Dun dun dun. They met an Earthman, dude. Yep. Alright, hold on. I kind of have to finish this now. Damn, it's just getting deep, man. From the hall, they came out into the courtyard. Jill, who went to a riding school in the holidays, had just noticed the smell of a stable, a very nice, honest, homely smell it is to meet in a place like Underland. When Eustace said, Great Scott, look at that! A magnificent rocket had risen from somewhere beyond the castle walls and broken into green stars. Fireworks, said Jill in a puzzled voice. Yes, said Eustace. But you can't imagine those Earth people letting them off for fun. It must be a signal. Dun dun dun. It means no good to us. I'll be bound, said Puddlegrim. Friends, said the prince, when once a man is launched on such an adventure as this, he must bid farewell to hopes and fears. Otherwise, death or deliverance will both come too late to save his honor and his reason. Ho, my beauties! He was now opening the stable door. Hey, cousins, steady Coldback. Softly now, Snowflake. You are not forgotten. The horses were both frightened by the strange lights and the noises. Jill, who had been so cowardly about going through a black hole between one cave and another, went in without fear between the stamping and the snorting beast, and she and the prince had them saddled and bridled in a few minutes. Very fine they looked as they came out in the courtyard, tossing their heads. Jill mounted Snowflake, and Puddlegrim got up behind her. Eustace got up behind the prince on Coldback. Then, with a great echo of hoofs, they rode out of the main gateway into the street. Dun, dun, dun. Not much danger of being burnt. That's the bright side of it, observed Puddlegrim, pointing to the right. There, hardly 100 yards away, lapping against the walls of the houses, was water. Courage, said the prince. The road, there it goes, down steeply. That water has climbed only half up the greatest hill of the city. It might come so near in the first half hour and come no nearer in the next two. So it's like it's over there, but it's like, it's, I don't know, man. Maybe it's not the same, bruh. I got a picture, though. I got a good picture there. Narnia. There's no Narnia. Oh no, that one person looks like a witch. Oh yeah. I was at the Great White Witch. My bad. Yeah. The truth is, he was so glad at being free from his long enchantment that all danger seemed a game in comparison. But the rest found it eerie journey. Behind them was the sound of clashings and entangled ships and the rubble of collapsing buildings. Overhead was a great patch of lurid light on the roof. I don't know if I know that word. Lurid. Which did not seem to grow any bigger. From the same direction came the continual hubbub of shouts, screams, catcalls, laughter, squeals and bellowings, and fireworks of all sorts rose in the dark air. No one could guess what they meant. Nearer to them, the city was partly lit up by a red glow, and partly by a very different light of the dreary gnome lamps. But there were many places where neither of these lights fell, and those places were jet black. And in and out of those places, the shapes of earthmen were darting and slipping all the time, always with their eyes fixed on the travelers, always trying to keep out of the sight themselves. There are big and little faces, huge eyes like fishes' eyes, and little eyes like bears'. There were feathers and bristles, horns and tusk, noises like whipcord and chins, so long that they looked like beards. Every now and then, a group of them would get too big or come too near. Then the prince would brandish his sword and make a show of charging them, and the creatures, with all manner of hootings, squeakings, and cluckings, would dive away into the darkness. But when they had climbed many steep streets and were far away from the flood and almost out of the town on the inland side, it began to be more serious. They were now close to the red glows and nearly on a level with it, though they still could not see what it really was. But by its light, they could see their enemies more clearly. Hundreds, perhaps a few thousand, of gnomes were all moving toward it, but they were doing so in short rushes, and whenever they stopped, they turned and faced the travelers. If your highness asked me, said Puddleglum, I'd say those fellows are meaning to cut us off in front. That was my thought too, Puddleglum, said the prince. We can never fight our way through so many. Hark you, let us ride forth close by the edge of yonder house, and even as we reach it, do you slip off into the shadow. The lady and I will go forward a few paces. Some of these devils will follow us, I doubt not. They are thick behind us. Do you, who have long arms, take one alive, if you may, as it passes your ambush. We may get a true tale of it or learn what is their quarrel against us. But won't the others all come rushing at us to rescue the one we catch? Said Jill in a voice not so steady as she tried to make it. Then, madam, said the prince, you shall see us die fighting around you, and you must commend yourself to the lion. Now, good Puddleglum, the marsh wiggle slipped off into the shadow as quickly as a cat. The others, for a sickening minute or so, went forward at a walk. Then suddenly from behind them there broke out a series of blood-curdling screams, mixed with the familiar voice of Puddleglum's, saying, Now, then, don't cry out before you're hurt. You will be hurt. See? Anyone would think it was a pig being killed. That was good hunting, exclaimed the prince, immediately turning coal black and coming back to the corner of the house. Eustace, he said, of your curiosity, take Colback's head. Then he dismounted, and all three grazed in silence while Puddleglum pulled his catch out into the light. It was a most miserable little gnome. Miserable. Only about 3 feet long. It had sort of a ridge, like a coxcomb, only hard. On the top of his head, little pink eyes, and a mouth and chin so large and round that his face looked like that of a pygmy hippopotamus, if they had not been in such a tight space. They would have burst into laughter at the sight of it. Now, Earthmen, said the prince, standing over it and holding his sword point very near the prisoner's neck. Speak up like an honest gnome, and you shall go free. Play the knave with us, and you are but a dead Earthman. Good Puddlegrim, how can I speak while you hold his mouth tight shut? No, it can't bite either, said Puddlegrim. If I had the silly soft hands you humans have, saving your highness, reverence, I'd have been all over blood by now. Yet even a marsh wiggle gets tired of being chewed. Sierra, said the prince to the gnome, one bite and you'll die. Let his mouth open, Puddlegrim. Oi! Squealed the Earthman. Let me go, let me go. It isn't me. I didn't do it. Didn't do what? Asked Puddlegrim. Whatever your honors say I did do, answered the creature. Tell me your name, said the prince, and what you Earthmen are all about today. Oh, please, your honors, please, kind gentlemen, whimpered the gnome. Promise you will not tell the Queen's Grace anything I say. The Queen's Grace, as you call her, said the prince sternly, is dead. I killed her myself. What? Cried the gnome, opening his ridiculous mouth wider and wider in astonishment. Dead? The witch dead? By your honor's hand? It gave a huge sigh of relief and added, why then your honor is a friend. The prince withdrew his sword an inch or so. Puddlegrim let the creature sit up. It looked round on the four travelers with its twinkling red eyes, chuckled once or twice, and began. And began what, you might ask? Yeah, this is like book 6. It's like, yeah, dude, it's 3:20, bro. It's time to go to bed, dude. Like, that's pretty good. Good little read there. Yep. See you guys later. Glad I could read the Chronicles of Narnia. Dun dun dun. It's backwards for dyslexic people. Boom.